I know. I remember once when I first started comedy, I like made a Facebook post that was like, roast me. And it was like, it was an attempt to be like, what do you see? Let me learn a little more about myself.
Yeah.
Maybe use these jokes. And Alex Estrada, who was a sketch comedy writer, he said, I don't write for free. And it was I was so new and so vulnerable, but it taught me something.
Yeah.
You can't just ask people to write for you.
Yeah. That's, I feel like you have a lot of those stories where like something like happens. Like the one that I can think of is the woman who like told you it was very theatery. No, it was very theater. Like your stand up was like very.
The old Booker of New York Comedy Club said I was two one-man show. And like, I feel like it's still in your nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
One man show.
How did you change after that? How do you take that note?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I did the thing where I walked around and I said, Robin Williams, two one-man show, sorry. And then I said, you want me to mumble? You want me to go up there and mumble? I'll stand in place. I'll mumble. I'm sorry. Why did you provide a stage if you didn't want me to move? And I changed a little bit and then I went right back to what I do. You've seen me.
Yeah.
You haven't been like...
I was wondering if there was a more one-man show version of
He stopped throwing fake footballs into the audience and going, catch.
Well, when I first started, I very much did like very beginning. My friend Chris Cafaro saw it where I was like, I like did really nerdy. Like that was my go-to was Seymour and Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh.
You know, like that's what worked.
Creating a persona.
Hello, I'm
What's an early joke that you had as a nerd?
My name's Gianmarco Soresi, but I'm mostly Jewish. I'm like a matzah pizza, or really more like a matzah with a tiny drop of ragu. Good. And I thought this joke I thought was decent is these are all my name jokes. My name's Gianmarco. I'm Italian, but I'm Italian in the sense that we're all African.
Oh, okay.
Which was too far.
Yeah.
But the early stirrings of a genius learning his voice.
Someone in the back heard it and was like, not there yet. But the kid's got something. It
felt edgy because I said Africa, but it wasn't offensive at all. Do you have early name jokes? What were some of the early embarrassing ones?
I kept this one around for a lot longer than I should have. My name is Martin Urbano, but you can call me by my street name, Martin Avenue.
Mm-hmm. Nice. You did that. That was on your Kimmel.
Yeah. Shouldn't be on TV, but it's nice.
This is what I said. I said, hey, can you tell me a joke of yours that was bad? And you're like, sure, let me do my celebrated late night set opener joke.
Gianmarco, just because something's on TV doesn't mean it's good.
When do you know when to retire like a good bit?
Do you know that
I know like
who is Nine based on? The famous director?
Yeah, Fellini.
I believe Fellini's quote was like, a movie is only done when you have to cut it off. Like there's no good time. I don't think it's ever done. At some point you just go, well, I guess I'm going to stop.
Wow.
Sometimes I'll think of an old joke and I'm like, that was actually good. And I do it on stage and I go, yeah, you stopped that for a big reason.
Like what?
Silence.
Yeah, come on.
Like what joke?
Oh God. I did one that I wasn't, I mean, these are the old ones that would get me in trouble. I used to have a bit where when I was younger, I felt I was heavy chested. I had moobs. So a lot of my early act was about my moobs.
Man boobs.
And I said,
I really hate the word moobs.
Sure.
Man boobs.
And I apologize. I said moobs is a Native American term that means man with chest of lady. And let me tell you why I stopped doing moobs. And I think this is an important comic lesson.
There's so many reasons to stop doing that.
I don't think you need a reason, but sure, okay.
Yeah.
A story.
Another reason.
A story.
I met a comic at Caroline's Comedy Club, and his act was about having bigger breasts. He had a irregular estrogen to the point that he had like D-cup titties.
Oh.
And I realized in that moment, I was like, you having a little bit of tittage in middle school, that's not special.
Sure.
I mean, if comedy is exaggeration, what's more exaggerated than a guy with D cup titties.
Yeah.
And so I said, do you want the Native American joke? And he said, this is the downside.
1, 2, 3. Downside. You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.
Welcome to the downside. That was my guest co-host speaking to me. It's weird to hear your voice.
Yeah.
And look at you.
I appreciate that. I'm really good at those.
I didn't say a compliment, but in your head you were like, "It is good."
I just broke my cold streak. I've been on such a cold streak in terms of booking work.
Oh my God.
And so I booked this VO.
Hey, congrats.
It's not a big deal, but it was just like finally I just needed to break the streak, to get it out of my head. But it was this a VO of singing a song, and dealing with people who don't know about music is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. So I'm recording this thing in my apartment. I've got like a Source Connect studio or whatever, and I'm supposed to sing this song. And she's like, "The song is like really high. Can you sing it lower?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I sing it down the octave.
Down the octave. Sure.
Like, so I sing the song, and it's like down here, and she's like, "Now that's too low."
Oh.
She's like, "Can you sing it in the middle?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "You'd have to change the key." And she's like, "What do you mean?" And then she's like, "Sing it like this." Ba, 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 ba. And I was like, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
This is the audition or the recession?
This is the session. And meanwhile, there's an engineer there. Like, why is he so silent? Like, he must deal with music.
Sure.
Like, why? No one chimed in my defense. Like, I wonder if they were like being difficult. Like, no, this is music.
Do you think she thought invent a new melody?
Yeah, I think she did. I really think she did. But this was like a popular song that they were rewriting the lyrics to. A popular 80s song. I'm not going to sing it, but like, like if it was
sing it down the octave so we don't recognize
No, but if it was like, "Don't stop believing in this pharmaceutical thing," like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then I was
Ozempic.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. And suddenly I'm like, "Don't stop believing," and then they get the client in there, and the client's like, "It doesn't sound right. What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Because I need to sing it the normal way."
That is so
brutal.
So what happened?
I sang it the normal way. The client loved it, and the engineer and the lady were silent. They were not. They kept being, "It's too high. It's too high."
Were they young or old?
They seemed young. I don't know, because they were just voices in my head. Because they were in a studio somewhere, and I was in my apartment.
So that's Douglas Goodhart, and you'll tell us when it airs.
Sure.
And we'll try to get it played as like the
we'll
automatic Spotify ad that they force on us.
Yes. Ooh, that'd be so fun.
We had a while where some people were writing and they're saying, just they're advertising hyper right-wing coffee brands on your podcast. And I was like, God
wait,
damn it.
what's a hyper right-wing coffee
It's just
brand?
like, do you love freedom?
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
hate women? You'll love our coffee.
KKK coffee.
And we are joined by phenomenal comedian Martin Urbano.
Hey guys, good to be here.
How you doing?
Doing all right.
So happy to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I met Martin when I met Martin at a show where I had just started comedy.
Mhm.
I was so new, and I thought I was. Matthew Broussard has a line of I just want to be good at as good as comedy as I thought I was 2 years in. And it feels so. I think about it all the time. And I just thought I was at a different level, and I somehow got on a cool booked show where you walk in and you're like, there's people in every chair.
Wow.
Whoa. And it was in Brooklyn, and you had just moved.
Oh.
And I was doing it was about a weird porn I saw.
Okay.
It was it started the Native American term for it was at a regular 7 p.m. show, some guy doing a bit about a porn they saw and all the twists and turns of the porn. And I thought it was great. And by the way, it's still in my document of I think there's something here.
Yeah, sounds fun.
Yeah.
But you were nice to me. And I'll never forget.
Which you're
That's good.
by reputation, you're not nice.
Yeah.
So it was good that you
I
were
guess
nice
it depends who you ask, but that's good. I remember seeing you at a Frankenstein themed bar in
Oh,
Manhattan.
yes, we probably did shows at. There's the Dr. Jekyll.
Dr. Jekyll's.
Dr.
Yes.
Jekyll's, and there's a sister
Closed now, I
restaurant.
believe.
It's closed.
I thought.
So you
I
would
passed
go
by it.
upstairs, and they would normally do like
Yes.
shitty acting shows. So there'd be all the like.
This
you
isn't
know,
Jekyll and Hyde's, like the famous like Jekyll and Hyde's restaurant.
Oh,
Where's
is
that
it?
one?
Is it?
It was
to call this
West,
famous
like
would
West
be-
Village, maybe?
yeah, it seemed like it, but it was a place called Jekyll and Hyde's that
I
was
don't
like
think it's known as the famous. I think it's just it's there.
oh, it was like it's like the equivalent of Bubblegum Shrimp Company. It's like a movie or
Yes.
a theater-y.
Yes, yes,
like,
yes.
like- yeah.
But the microphone was only set to whatever they were doing for the show, which means all your lines had a vibrato on them.
Stop it! That's so funny.
And some decent shows there. Some shockingly okay
Yeah.
shows in the upstairs room.
I just remember you. Isn't that fun?
Oh,
I
that's
don't remember the
nice.
show at all.
What bit did you remember? What was I focusing on?
That's what
Nothing
the
at
show
all.
really is. We just go through his
Yeah.
bits.
It's
Sure.
fun.
Well,
Yeah,
honestly,
fun.
that's where it's going. Martin Urbano, thank you for coming. I already said this. I started taking Adderall. Prescribed.
Today?
No, it wasn't the first day. I did a couple warm-ups before I brought it to the pod.
Sure.
But let me tell you, it's speed.
Is it?
Whoa.
I mean that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And it is for sure. It is.
Just a little bit.
Off camera. Just-
I had states and I'd be like, wouldn't it be funny if I asked if anyone has weed in this audience and that's not legal, but you'd give it to me and it's a joke? It's 20 milligrams. And I feel, have you ever taken it?
No, I've never taken
I wish
it.
I had when I was younger. I
Oh.
clearly have ADD. Clearly.
Yeah.
But I did fine enough in school because I was just working so hard that
Sure,
no one
sure.
could find out that I was an idiot. And I just needed it to help with reading. What was I doing?
Yeah.
And I feel, have you ever taken Adderall?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Then let me tell you about it.
I took a little bit one time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
One night
I had to
you
finish
took
a
a lot.
paper for college.
Okay.
Did it actually work? Did you feel like it was like,
It was like drinking a lot of coffee all at
Yeah.
once. Yeah.
it didn't really, everyone, when I tell it, they go like, well, you must have got a lot of things done. I'm like, no, I just like paced faster than normal.
Yeah.
I got nothing done quicker.
Did it make you feel anxious or did it make you? Because
No.
that's what I'd be worried about.
It's like a buzz through my whole body, and like it feels like I could cry, but I'm happy. And I feel the world is open with like potential, and like I'm gonna get it done. And luckily I have this Adderall to get me through it.
Wow.
It's scary how fun it is.
Yeah.
But it's all-
On the other side, my friend gave me Xanax from Mexico, Mexican Xanax.
Called.
I don't know what it's called, but it's. I think it's just like a normal brand that she bought in Mexico.
Ooh, she.
She.
What a twist
Well,
to the
because I have
story.
anxiety. I have anxiety, but I've never taken anything for it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm really afraid to do the dry run, to try it. She
I
was like,
hear
just
you.
just take half and
Yeah.
see how it feels like sitting around your apartment. But like having anxiety about taking anti-anxiety medicine is a new level of anxiety.
What's your worry about it?
I think I'm worried that my heart will start pounding, then it'll explode and I'll die.
He has a heart attack fear.
I do.
Oh.
I worry about I worry about health things.
Sure.
And so like I worry about like my heart's pounding and I'm gonna die. Even though I have no history of heart attack in my family or anything like that. And like all the facts are that I'm okay. I'm a healthy boy.
Sure.
But I'm worried about it.
And where does that come from?
Thanks. Yeah. Well, my therapist thinks it's definitely my mother. But definitely my mother.
The heart attack thing, or
No,
just anxiety?
just anxiety in
Sure.
general. Anxiety in general.
Sure. My
In
God.
fact, I dropped my therapist because it was too much mother talk.
Whoa.
It was too much mother stuff.
Really? You didn't tell me you dropped your therapist.
Yeah, I need to find a new one.
Wait, what do you mean? Tell me why too much mother
It was
talk?
just too much. Like it was too much. Like everything that I was like feeling or thinking, she'd be like, "That's because your mother stifled you," and I'm like, "I don't want to keep blaming her for these
Lay
things."
off my mom,
Like-
lady.
and
What about exploring it? Well, I mean, listen, I agree with you. I'm not going to counter your experience.
No, but I feel like we really
You think you
explored
covered it?
it.
You say we talked about this for one session. I think we're done.
No, we talked
now,
about
Dad, and then a graduation.
We talked about it for the better part of like, of 2 or 3 years.
Sure.
And like it was just like, come on.
That's the Freudian school.
What happens if you go to another therapist and she's like, "This is all because your mom that you dropped your last therapist"?
Yeah, I think then I would really have to take a hard look at myself.
Okay.
I think I really would. Yeah.
That's fair. Have you taken other drugs?
Yes.
And how do you react on those?
Used to be great, but like when we did mushrooms.
Could you write him a prescription after this? It
Yeah,
feels like
right?
that's where
Yeah,
the
right?
direction this is headed.
How about
curious.
you? Do you?
I don't talk about that. But what do you like? How did it make you anxious health wise when you were
Yes,
on those things?
yeah,
On shrooms?
Mushrooms made me anxious.
An illegal drug?
Yes, weed started making me very anxious, and so I don't do it anymore. And we recently did mushrooms, and there was so much laughter and so much fun. And in between it, I was like, freaking out.
It's so funny because I guess I assumed Douglas like knew more about drugs because Douglas is the kind of guy he knows everything you do. He's either done a workshop on it or he watched a documentary about it. And so you talk about it, you're like, I in my mind I was like, well, he knows shrooms.
And I do.
And you do.
I've done them a couple times.
And you know they make
And
you
I've done
fucking stressed.
And I've done all the research. No. I know that. I mean, I did them when I was younger and a little bit more carefree. I think, and now it like really like affects me differently.
I wish I'd done more drugs when I was younger. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. I did a college show recently.
He's interviewing us.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
because I think for college I'm like I am today, but with singing. All I did was like practice singing. And so I never like went out at the time where your body could bounce back. And I go, man, I wish I had gotten drunk when I could wake up the next day and I'd be like, brr, instead of now.
Sure.
I wish I had started smoking weed for social situations so long ago. I think if I had smoked weed in high school, I would have enjoyed a party.
Interesting.
And it was so anti-drug messaging was so strong in me and my neurotic Jewish self to not break that rule.
Same. Yeah.
And I disagree with you.
Oh.
I think you might have done it right. I smoked a lot of pot and then suddenly it started making me feel really anxious. And I've heard that story from other people too. I know a lot about this. I've done a workshop on it. No, but like seriously, I think maybe I like took my allotment of weed.
Sure.
And like, like the fact that you spread it out, now you're enjoying it, right? Like as an adult.
Great time.
Exactly. And so as a kid, I was abusing it. I was smoking it every day and I was doing it in the morning and all that stuff. And like, I was never not high. And now I can't even touch it. It makes me, even if I watch it on television, if somebody takes a hit on television, it makes me anxious. Yeah.
This like when I try to get my dad to watch Sopranos, and at first I'm like, I think you'll like this. It touches on every aspect of your life. And then he sees him shopping the mom around retirement communities. He goes, I can't watch this. It's too close to home. And I'm like, God damn it, man.
Yeah.
I wanna ask you a question, but I want to say one last thing about my father because he texted me today.
Please.
And then we have so much in common. It scares me. But he's someone, he has like a company, a main company that he runs, scrap metal recycling. And then he's the kind of guy he probably has 1,000 trademarks for different ideas he's wanted to pursue, a weed brand. And today he sent me like a purse. And I know he won't listen, so I can speak honestly about it. But like he must have some scam of like buying cheap purses somewhere, and you can put a label on it. And he wants to call it Soresi. I believe it's pronounced Perlay. And you know what it stands for? Soresi for her. Soresi for her. And he has a logo that he swears is our family crest, but there's no history of this being a thing.
Oh my God.
Where, as I said, I'm Italian in the sense that we're all African.
Yeah.
And
I like that.
Write that down.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a cheap looking bag that I'm sure.
This is a purse. This is meant for Tova. He was like, give this to Tova.
Can I tell you why? I wish I could show you a video of it, but he sent it to me, and he wears these bicycle pants. He's never bicycled a day in his life, and he's showing me the purse, the purse, and like you can see where I used to live through these bike pants, and I showed Tova the purse, and she's like, "Oh, look at it's the bad purse," and
with like a metal. I'm picturing like where the Prada logo is. It's like Soresi per se.
No, it's worse.
Okay.
It's worse. It's like a tag, like a big
Ooh.
security tag hanging off just the existing bag. And as my dad's showing it off, he's struggling to get the clip off because it's a shitty clip.
He sent it to you, or he sent you a video?
He sent me a video so he could show
okay.
me how the clip functioned on the bag.
Wow.
And couldn't.
He's got a lot of get rich quick schemes, huh?
Yeah, I honestly think if he didn't, he would have money. But I'm the same. I'm the same with just a little bit more nuance, a little bit more, not purses, podcast.
Yeah. Towels, cum towels.
Cum towels.
Yeah.
What merch do you sell?
It's a lot of merch now. There's a cum towel. It's associated with the bit. I know I need to retire it. I know you judge it, Martin.
I know.
I know you. Yes, you do.
Why do you
Yes,
think I do? Why
Yes,
do you
you
think
do.
I do?
Because I think as a great alt comic,
How dare you?
but correct.
I'm mainstream, but sure.
Sure.
Continue.
He's on Kimmel. That's pretty mainstream.
ABC.
Yeah, it's about as
That's-
mainstream as it gets.
ABC
ABC
in 2017 and never again. Yeah.
By the way,
I'm mainstream.
They got rid of the stand-up comics after his round of comedians.
No.
That's exactly right.
That's
Yeah.
not true.
Yes.
After his round?
Not him specifically.
Oh, okay.
Kimmel didn't go,
Almost.
but there was like, they stopped it. Ariel Elias is the most recent one. It's because she had the beer can thrown at her.
Oh,
but she
wow.
got a rare Kimmel stand-up
Kimmel stand-up
set. But
Yeah.
he got rid of them.
Yep.
Even though he owns a comedy club. I think any a good old comedian, especially stand-up comic, gets comedy. And to get comedy, you know the landscape. And if you know the landscape, you know that cum towels, first of all, not the first to do it. Second of all, it's appeals to the lowest common denominator of humor. And it leans in so hard, and people come up to me and they go, "Well, I'm going to make this crunchy later," and I go,
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
They say, all sorts of things.
You might have something there in terms of like letting a piece of merch that lets everyone else try to be a comedian for a second as they walk
That
up
sounds
to you.
like a nightmare.
No, but that's what people want.
That's what they want.
That's what people want. They want to be in on the joke. They want to play a game. You gave them a little game, and you gave them a little. It's like when I do this pedophile character,
Okay.
and people come up to me. They're like, "Hey, you made a safe space for us pedophiles." I'm like, look, you're making a joke. I think. I hope. But they like that. They like that a lot. And obviously, I hate that particular version because it's confusing.
Yeah.
But that's like a fun one because it's innocent. It's joyful. It's they're going to go come in a towel later thinking about you. It's beautiful.
Has anyone ever said it, and sent a shiver down your spine?
I have a bit in the hour I just taped where I talk about getting a message and finding out that somebody in my audience was a registered sex offender. And I I do a bit where I sit in the audience and I sat right next to them. And then the lady afterwards was like, he was an actual registered sex offender. 8 years in federal, just
8
got
years.
out.
Oh
It just
my
got out last
God.
year or the year before that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How many before they say, "All right, second chance, you're off"?
8 years.
8
8
then
years.
It's over.
I don't know. It was
It's for
in
life. I'm pretty sure.
He's still on the list. He's
on the list, but he went to
8 years
jail.
for-
Oh, he went
He
to
went
jail.
to federal prison for
But
8
that
years
list
and then
is-
had just gotten out.
That list is forever, right?
Yes. So he was on the list. He was in the audience as a registered sex offender. Yes.
Oh, my
Wow.
God.
Yeah. So I explore what that means to me.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, brutal.
What? Not outside of your act, what does that mean to you?
I think I say it in my act too. It's that's the one part that I like break character a little bit enough. I mean, it made me think about it. I don't know.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And I still don't know what I think quite yet, but I'm
didn't
done with the
figure it out?
pedophile character.
Oh, you're
I'm done with the
it?
pedophile character. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, that's like they say that.
That's sad. That makes me sad.
It was necessary.
Yeah.
It was hindering my career actively.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, there's that study about satire and how it doesn't really work because half the
That's
people.
such a big statement.
That's a huge study.
I know
That's
exactly
like
what
it says
study you're
there's someone
talking
eating
about.
an apple.
It's like no, but it's like half the people are watching it going, see, those people are idiots, and the other half are like, exactly right. That guy's exactly right. The Colbert,
That was specifically about Colbert.
the
Yeah.
Colbert Report was like both sides were
You heard
watching it and being like, yup. Like it doesn't teach the other side. That doesn't teach the side that's being satirized or whatever.
They
It
don't
doesn't
get
teach them. They don't get it.
Sure.
And so if satirical comedy is supposed to teach the audience that doesn't know and also make us go, yeah, we know, ha ha ha, he's making a joke.
Well, couldn't you argue that the argument for satirical comedy is not necessarily to change minds, but to give a form of release to the people whose views you might respect? I mean, does that have to be? Does satire's only purpose have to be to
hold up
change?
the mirror, to hold up the mirror,
to hold up the mirror?
I think
and to laugh.
I think that satire's main focus was to hold up the mirror. Archie Bunker, you were supposed to look at that guy and be like, oh, I'm like that. Geez, I shouldn't be like that.
What about a study? I think you find a study that says no comedy changes anyone's mind. What do you think?
Do you really believe that?
I don't believe
Do I think comedy changes people's minds?
Yeah. Or do you think that it doesn't? Or what do you think about it?
No, I don't think that's a goal worth pursuing as an artist. I think any change comes about like it's part of the massive cultural movement that might scoop people up or influence people.
Right.
But the idea that your one piece of art, or
Of
God
course.
forbid, your one Instagram reel is going to sway somebody is a fool's errand, and ultimately will lead you down the path of where I think people like Colbert went now, where suddenly you have people dancing as vaccine needles, and now you're truly not even entertaining the people who do agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you were
I would never say anything about the great Stephen Colbert.
What about the great Jimmy Fallon? He worked for
what
The Tonight
about him?
Show. Oh, you did?
Yeah, I used to write for The Tonight Show. That's right.
Yeah. How'd you like that?
I liked it great. It was fun.
How did they like your pedophile
But
character?
they didn't use any of my stuff for 6 months, and then they
Okay,
fired
so
me.
Jimmy, so what if in the opening monologue, you're a pedophile?
I mean, honestly,
He's doing
I
the
tried.
thank you note section. He's like, thank you for not going forward to the authorities.
I always tried to insert like Prince Andrew jokes because that was like the one that he like had done before. So I kept trying to get one in, never could. But I really tried to write for that show.
Yeah.
I legit tried to match his voice, and I think I did a pretty good job. But I was hired as a sketch writer and not as a monologue writer,
Oh.
and I didn't know how to write sketches for him.
Can you share some jokes that you thought like maybe I thread the needle here?
In one ear out the other. I was crapping them out. But I
Yeah.
looked back at them recently because I got hired for a job that was kind of comparable. And I was looking through, I was like, oh, this stuff is pretty good. But getting fired from there and them not using my stuff sort of shattered my confidence into thinking I was a good writer until I looked back and I was like, oh no, actually it's what everybody says about that place and that system.
Yeah.
What
and
is everyone saying about that place in that system?
There's an article about it or something. I don't know. The turnover rate's insane for a reason. And
Sure.
it's not, but it's hard not to take that personal when you are there and doing it, and then you get let go.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you think there's any part of me goes, well, you're not going to get good comedy doing 4 shows a week, period. There's no time. There's no time to really make something. Yeah.
I think a big problem is that he gets final say over everything. And I think if you're also the head in charge of everything and mounting that pressure on you, and you don't have somebody just being like, say this, then you're screwed because you're biting off more than you could possibly chew.
Yeah.
My theater teacher said that if you ever see a play that was written, directed, and starred the same person, it's going to be a terrible play.
Yeah.
Written, star, and directed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what about the exception? Mel.
Cole
Jesus,
Scola?
Mel.
Cole Scola?
Cole
Maybe
Scola.
Cole Scola's a
Mel
good
Gibson.
that
Braveheart.
Mel Gibson, Braveheart. Yeah. I mean,
Mel
there
Gibson, the
I'm
voicemail that
I'm
he
sure
left for his
that I'm
dog.
sure that there are 100% exceptions, but like I think to your point, it's like you're biting off more. You can't step back. You can't
Yeah.
step back and look at it. Like how can you direct something that you're in?
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of stand-up comics go bad because our life is so insulated. You know, we're the ones, we have all the facts.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to take notes from someone when you're like, well, I've done it for 100 different audiences. I know what works. And then you lose the sense of like, well, is this an interesting point or does it just kill?
Sure.
Ooh.
Ooh, these breaths.
Oh,
These breaths hold so much meaning.
were you comforted? Okay. So when you were fired, were you comforted at all by another comedian I massively respect who did not do well at the Tonight Show?
Jesselnick.
Uh-huh.
He was there for 1 full year.
And it was for the beginning of it.
At the beginning of it.
2 monologue writers. Now it's a staff.
Okay.
And he left.
He left.
On his own accord. But that is the difference between the beginning of Late Night with Jimmy Fallon and years into The Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Different shows. Completely different shows. I think I would have been able to stay as long as I wanted at that time.
Mm.
But now, no.
The treadmill was going at 15 miles an hour and you had to like jump on like that.
Exactly.
That's hard, man.
Yeah.
Oof.
Do you ever feel like your taste makes, like when you got to the Tonight Show, obviously a job, money, security, but were you excited?
I was so excited by the money.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God, so great.
It was so good.
So great.
It was so good.
What late night show do you respect the most? Any packets out there right now? You're like, at midnight.
Yeah. After midnight. And yeah, probably all of them. I did apply to, as soon as I got fired from Fallon, I applied to Gutfeld.
Oh, wow.
You're lying.
And they rejected me.
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
Now,
I tried to hide my anything political. I was just like, I'm a comedy writer. I do stand up. And I submitted. And they said no.
If you were on Gutfeld, it would then attract this like crazy niche little audience to the side that had no political. Oh, that would be amazing. I'd love. Did you ever see Mike Huckabee? He had a talk show, or he has a talk show.
Oh yeah,
and he'll have these Christian comics on it.
Wow,
that's how.
God,
yes.
It is astounding where there's no turn. The jokes have no turn.
Did you share one of these clips one time?
I did share one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was just, it's so, to call it even soft is wrong. It's just like the biggest pivot is like you open the fridge and you're like, you ate everything when you snacked an hour ago. Like it's like
Gianmarco, write that down.
But that's what everybody's been making fun of JD Vance. Like, have you guys ever had a Dr. Pepper? This guy knows what I'm talking about.
When they miss the boat, when they go, liberals are going to say it's racist. It's like, no, we're not. And that wasn't good. That wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
I think you could take a heel turn and start writing for a conservative.
I tried. I failed.
Yeah.
Wait, I heard a good Christian joke. A street joke. Yeah. What's the worst part about having sex with Jesus?
What?
He's always trying to come into your heart.
Oh wow! But I heard it can be fun.
I like that.
I heard he's people want to sleep with him because he's this hung.
Whoa,
that's good. Yay!
Martin, you got one? You got a street joke?
No,
nothing in the tank.
No, give me more. I like to be an audience member.
You do. No doubt about it.
So, Martin,
I
feel like you like being somewhat mysterious. I've listened to. I would say, where does that come from? You'd be like, I don't know. So I'll just go with the facts that I know.
Okay.
Texas. You're from Texas.
I am from Texas. Why do you ask? Who wants to know?
Who wants to know? We're in Texas.
Brownsville, Texas.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with Texas?
I spent a month in Dallas, Fort Worth.
I used to live in Denton for a little bit, which is right nearby there.
Yeah.
How did you like Texas?
I mean, I'm here in New York City now.
Sure.
I think I like it more being away from it. But definitely when I was there, I was so interested in comedy and alternative comedy. And that was just so absent. And anytime I would go to school, at high school, and be like, oh, I'm watching stand-up comics, or like Kevin Hart, Gabriel Iglesias. And I was like, no. And they're like, that we don't know what you're talking about at all. I'm like, okay, I need to get out of here. So then I moved to Austin and I liked it there for a little bit. And then I moved here.
Were your comedy tastes alty even when you were like younger? Like what
Dimitri Martin was one of the first big ones for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mitch Hedberg.
Sure, Mitch
Hedberg.
Yeah.
Have you worked with Dimitri?
Pretty mainstream. No.
Because he's back out there.
Who? Dimitri? Oh, great.
Yeah,
Have
he's
you?
touring. No, I haven't. Because he took a break. I'm not sure, but now he's on it.
I think he's been doing it in the background for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
He has like 2 specials on Netflix that are post Comedy Central stuff.
Yeah. So when you were younger, were you theater kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
Can you sing?
Not at all.
No, not at all.
Okay.
But you don't have the theater. You don't have what I consider a theater kid vibe.
What does that mean?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? You've been sitting normally the whole. Look at this, both the whole time.
Well,
Like-
we're both singers. We're both singers.
We're both singers. That's true.
My balls are sweaty right now.
Sure. What kind of theater did you have at school? What kind of private, public?
Public. It was a very bad theater program, bad school district. In fact, I remember recounting tales of my high school to people and being shocked that it was abnormal that in my senior year of high school, multiple assignments were coloring. Do you guys have that?
Senior year?
Senior year of high school, one of your science classes, multiple assignments were coloring.
Coloring.
Did you guys have that?
Was
Anybody?
it color by numbers, or did they say they're at the point they can figure out what colors go where by themselves?
Yeah. Just whatever colors like matched the picture.
What kind of pictures are we talking? Like, give me a science.
So it was aquatic science, and to be fair, it was the blow-off class.
Okay.
That is to be fair. But one time, the teacher got mad. She was like, "Guys, not enough of you are coloring the picture, and you need to color the picture to finish the workbook. And if not, I have to fail you." And so we're all just a bunch of 17, 18-year-olds coloring
crayons
in
or
class.
markers.
We were markers. We were like responsible enough to handle the markers.
Markers.
You turned it in, like, show me your hands.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What would you get points off for? You make the water
Just
brown?
Outside the lines, Gianmarco.
No, just
outside the lines, of course.
truly not trying. That was, I think, what was upsetting her about it. Is that people would just submit it and it would be blank.
When you were doing
that is pretty bad though. Like is your only thing is you have to color this thing and you still don't do it.
But also it's coloring.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
Did you know at the time it was stupid, or did you say, "Oh, school is tough this year"?
Is this going to be in the final? No, I don't. I mean, I think I knew it was silly, but I think stepping outside of it, going to college, I was like, part of the reason I dropped out is because I was like, this is hard. And I wasn't not prepared for this at all. And I wanted to do comedy. That's like the main thing. But also I was like, if this was like easy, if I could just like crap through this, sure. But this is like actually work.
I like you get a real math test with like a graph on it and you color it in. And they're like,
I just have crayons and
no, you have to
what do you mean my own
solve for X.
Scantron? Yeah.
That's so funny. All the graphs are colored. That's so funny.
What kind of theater did you have?
Oh, so it was sort of a comparable version of that, the theater program. Yeah. It was. Oh, so this was interesting to find out also is we did musicals for the shows. Sometimes the big plays were musicals and everything was lip synced.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
Is this middle school or high school?
High school.
Wait, so wait,
that's why he can't sing.
You'd say the lines. You'd say the lines, but then the song would start.
Yeah.
Was it the person themselves singing just recorded an older version, or
take one wild guess?
Or it was like
it was just the soundtrack that was on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's amazing! I bet you, if somebody has a video, you have got to find those videos. That's so
I'll
funny.
try to find. That I wasn't really a part of any of those ones. I'm trying to think. There was Evil Dead the musical.
I know that musical. That was you ever heard of it?
No, never heard.
It was right when I was in musical theater, but it was like cool.
Yeah. Evil Dead the musical.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And you were in that one.
I was like in the background of that one. That was like my freshman year. It was the senior play.
I mean, surely at some point the track got fucked up or they did the wrong song.
And I'll tell you, it was highly entertaining. Everybody loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I would rather hear, like the kids are not great singers.
That's true.
Generally.
That's
true.
Sure.
I can pretend like I
guess
was a good
that's
singer
one
when I was
way
a
to
little
look
kid, but I
at
wasn't.
arts in high school.
Yeah.
Is actually we don't want to see any of it.
Let's just put a movie
we did an
on.
art
Why
gallery
not?
and we just did reprints of Picasso instead of their finger paintings because they kind of sucked.
They printed it though, and that's why it's kind of bent on the sides. I'm like, oh shit.
That's so funny. You're right, Gianmarco. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I've had to see some shows recently, and I was like, it's hard.
If I could do it in a way that somehow was divorced from cruelty, I would love to like review high school productions or middle school productions like I was Ben Brantley in the New York Times.
That'd be so funny.
And just like, oh my God.
You have to do elementary school.
Okay.
That's the one nobody will get mad at.
Sure.
Yeah. Elementary school. And that's funny.
in my school, we had this one kid who was very serious. He knew exactly what he wanted to be, and he wanted to be a critic. He wanted to be a movie critic.
What a loser kid. I'm sorry. If that's your dream when you're younger.
He was male pattern baldness from the very beginning. And he had the largest backpack that he like trudged through. He couldn't open his locker for sure, but he used to fucking scathe us. Just like he would like
in the school paper.
Amazing.
He would tear us apart.
Stars or no stars?
No stars.
No stars. Okay.
But like mentioning each character, each person by name.
He's like, someone get Douglas Goodhart a pre-recorded track. This was a nightmare.
Truly, he was mean, and like our school also had. The rare thing where like the theater program was cool. So the jocks were doing it too. So like, and he would just rip those jocks apart.
Okay.
And then they'd be like, oh, I'm going to kill this guy. But he did end up he works for the New York Times, I think. And I don't know if he's still a critic, but he is a journalist. And the reason why I still want to make fun of him is because I ran into him at I was bartending and he was there and he was very dismissive and then did not tip me.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What was his name?
What was his name? Yeah. He was like, he's always been this kind of socially awkward kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he was very like, he didn't treat me as if like, this is a peer of mine who I know. He was like, oh yeah, Douglas. So can we get some water? Like he was he was very
he
dismissive.
Didn't tip you and he knew you? That is crazy.
And I gave him free drinks too. Will
you tell me the name after? I want to look him up.
I sure will.
I'll have him on the pod.
Yeah. But he used to.
What if he reviews the pod after this description? The New York Times does a rare podcast review. That's great.
Yeah.
There's such a mix.
He was
this was high school, right?
Yeah, this was high school.
There's such a mix where I'm like, you shouldn't. There's part of me that goes, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't review the high school shows. And then there's a part of me that goes, when are they going to learn?
Yeah.
What, are you going to wait till college? Show them the real world?
No, and it
boring.
And it really it was. I think it's good because when you're in high school, you think you're so great. You think you're so good, and you have all this like, I don't know, you have all this confidence that is maybe a little too high. It's nice to get kicked down a notch. Maybe not at your school. Maybe not at your
but
school.
Your peers, you don't need your peers. You don't need your peers doing it. You need a wise person who's doing it thoughtfully, not some vengeful kid who can't put his fucking backpack in the locker and wants to go like, I want you all to kill yourselves.
I think he was thoughtful. But he was
God, find
tough.
That review.
He was tough. I'll find. I
it's
definitely
so hard
have
to find people's. I'm doing a new show where I want the guest to always bring on old footage from high school, middle school, but it's lost to the sands of time.
Mm-hmm.
I can only find
VCRs.
one show. I would love. Now people will have it, but God.
I have all of mine. You can see mine.
Okay.
Whoa.
You can see me play Pinocchio.
Whoa.
It's like, why would Geppetto make an 150-pound puppet? I was so large.
And your parents were teachers at the school?
No, in elementary school. How do you know that my parents are teachers?
Because I did research.
You really are very private person.
Research how?
I hired a private investigator. I said, what drugs does he do? I said, are these pedophile jokes? Give me full validity.
Retired elementary school teachers.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did they teach you at any point or no?
No, but I was in the classroom next door to my mom when I was in the first grade.
Oh.
Any perks?
No. No. Well, no. I think it was a hindrance, actually.
Why?
Because having your mom in a school is just kind of lame. A little bit lame.
Did kids make fun of you for it?
I remember one time in the third grade. No, they didn't. But in the third grade, so I was like a very anxious child and a very like nervous So a lot of my best friends were in the chess team and they were traveling to Nashville for this big competition. Yeah. And as they were flying, for some reason, they were talking about there's a tornado happening in Nashville or something like that. And they're flying over. So I was worried about my friends and I was scared. And on the way to school, the skies were so black with the clouds were so black. I was like, this is freaky. What's going on? And everyone's like, I think there's going to be a storm or something. So we get there. Now I'm like, my friends are like maybe getting a tornado. And for the first time ever in my life, I experienced hail. So ice started raining down from the skies, and I started crying and freaking out and hid under the desk and was like, we're all going to die. We're all going to die. And they had to call my mom over to take me out of the classroom and go and like show me the ice. Like, it's okay. Like, everything's fine.
Wait, how old were you? How old was this?
I was 15 years old in the third grade. No, I was in the third grade, however old that is. 10?
I know this because sometimes I have a joke where I try to do the age, and there's a lot of Google searches. How old are fifth graders? And I always am nervous that it's in.
How old are they?
They're 12.
12.
So you'd be around 10.
9 or 10. Yeah.
9 or 10.
Wow. If you think about it, though, I mean, your response to ice falling from the sky is appropriate if you've never seen that before.
For like a caveman.
Sure, but well, nobody told me about this. In South Texas, we never got snow, we never got ice, anything like that. But at the same time, everybody else was normal about it. So that's not a good sign.
Yeah. Yeah, but look at you now, sitting here doing the podcast of stars.
If it starts to hail outside, though.
You have anxiety?
Yeah, of course.
I think it's so. I always see you. My anxiety is so frantic. You see me pacing. You see me punching the air. People before a set that is of any importance, they go, "Are you okay?" And I have to be like, "That doesn't help. That doesn't help."
Why do you talk like that?
Because I'm so mad. I just want to bite him, and I'm holding it back. No one knows the right way to handle anything. And you can't expect him to. I can't be mad. They saw me going. They said, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, your anxiety is extroverted, for sure.
Yes.
For sure.
I feel like your anxiety, unless you're hiding under a desk, you always strike me as calm. And is that a mask you put on? Is that how it exhibits itself?
I guess so. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just in my head. I'm in a prison.
Yeah.
Do you feel massive anxiety before you perform, or are you calm? Or
no, not before I perform.
Good for you.
But when I first started, I had this thing where I would start gagging, and I couldn't go on stage until I dry heaved to the point of almost throwing up, and then I would go on stage and I'd be fine. But I never actually threw up.
There was
there was like a okay, that was the end of that dry heave, and now I'm ready to go on stage.
Where would you do this, in the bathroom or behind the stage, or like under your shirt?
Depending, yeah, just where people can see me for sure. Yeah.
Oh
wow,
God!
For like the first year or two, probably. Yeah.
Mine, I always was scared I'd piss my pants. I always was like, I'm gonna piss my pants. I pee 8 times, 10 times before a set.
Wow.
You, anything weird about you? Are you just normal?
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna go perform now.
No. It's certainly not. My tummy I get all burpy. And I get like, and I mean, you've seen me before, Uncle Functions. It's a lot like skydiving or bungee jumping, where like the journey up is really scary, but then as soon as I'm on stage, I mean, I'm sure we all felt
exactly
that way.
Yeah,
very calm and very nice.
No, not me.
No,
I'm anxious
Really?
the second I start and I keep going.
Really?
No, it depends. I had a rough college gig 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And it was like I was not doing well.
Oh wow.
And I feel so quickly. And it's shocking because you go, I've been doing this for so long, and I know to not take it personally, all these things. These are all freshmen. but in my I start going faster. I start feeling myself step back. And the worst, and it happens to every comic when they feel that, I think most comics when they feel they're bombing, you stumble on a word that is you have no reason to stumble on. Like something you cannot hide that you feel that you're not doing well, and you stumble on that word, and there is nothing that makes it worse than stumbling. Stumble on a word, you might as well just leave the joke behind. Oh, there's nothing worse, especially if it's like a punchline, and in the middle you trip, and then it's over.
Dude. One time I was doing a show at, I think it was Carmine Comics in the West Village or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just this tiny comic book shop. I don't know what was going on with me at the time. It was like 2018 maybe. I literally choked on stage. I was like, like in the middle of a sentence. And I just remember in the back seeing Rachel Sennett and Io Edebri just like, yikes. And there's just 5 people, and I was like, this is the most mortifying experience I've ever had.
2 of the most famous comedians. Yeah. Oh,
wow.
There's no recovering from a choke. Choke on stage.
So did you go to college?
Yeah, and then I dropped out.
How soon in?
A semester, but I stopped going to classes after 1 month.
And
because they were hard.
They were hard, and I was already doing stand-up. And I went to a small town called Nacogdoches, Texas, which is in the East Texas, small town, and couldn't do stand-up there. And I hated college, and I wanted to go do stand-up in Austin. And that's where I was trying to go the whole time. But my parents said, you have to go to school. You have to go to college. And I was like, okay, well, if I have to go to college, I'll follow my girlfriend because we're going to be together forever. And so I'm going to go to Nacogdoches.
And you guys are still together.
Yeah. And we broke up not too long after that.
Yeah.
Was she in comedy too?
Nah, but she was in theater.
Okay, cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, and we'll link to some of your sets, but
Great musical, by the way. Sorry, Braggadocious in Nacogdoches. I just really wanted to say it.
I want you to write it.
I want you to write it.
Yeah.
I want you to write the full show.
Just, I'm the best. Hit songs like I'm Better Than You. Look at Me, I'm Really Good.
Do you worry that the critic will go, what was that first song? I'm the best?
Yeah, I'm the best.
You worry critics going to be like, it's kind of like anything you can do, I could do better, but worse.
Braggadocious and Nacogdoches. I couldn't not let it go. Sorry. You were going to ask a question.
Please.
No. So in the beginning,
So stupid.
were you from the beginning of your comedy? Do you hate the word alti at this point?
I think it's funny to insist that I'm mainstream.
Sure.
Which you are.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Were you always mainstream? Or like in the beginning, did you have a little bit, or were you going up and like people were like,
I would go up in the Latino circuit because that's what was available to me in South Texas. Like the big people they would get were the guy, blanking on his name, but he's in Breaking Bad. He's one of the agents, one of the DEA agents. I want to say it's like Steve Quezada or something like that.
Yeah, he's like the second in command to the bald guy.
Yes.
He's
and
great.
He does stand up.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I mean, no one did. I think. And so he was like the big guy. Chris Kattan. That was like my first time opening for Chris Kattan. Was he would go down there, and everybody else was just kind of like
he was on the
famous in
circuit
Latino,
too, Chris Kattan?
on the Latino circuit, very like tangentially, because I think he would just do any gig, and they were like, okay, we can like make this our big guy, and then the rest are just these people like in this like there's a string of shows that you can do, and like especially in South Texas, it was like on Wednesday you do McAllen, on Thursday you do Westlaco, and then Harlingen or Brownsville or something in that. And so I would hop into that doing guest spots because they were really kind to me. This guy, the first guy to put me on stage was Mario Superstar Salazar.
Love it.
Mario Superstar.
Was there a lot of names like with like Superstar or like
The quotes
funniest?
A little bit, yeah. There was just a little bit. It was mostly just like Raymond Orta was a guy.
Did you like any of
yeah.
it? Did you, because what's nice, let me just say one nice thing about you is that you saw me at some, I have a complex, we don't need to address it, of like an alti comic seeing me as hack. It's my own complex. But it's
Gianmarco,
fine.
I'll just go ahead and say I find you to be very impressive, very funny, and I'm a fan of yours.
That's very sweet.
That's
and
nice.
he said something along those lines once. And so I guess I wonder when you were on that circuit, did you look at it and go like, oh, I see this and why that's funny or why that's killing, but I want to do this.
I've especially then I was such a huge comedy fan. So I just like loved it all so much.
Yeah.
I loved it all.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's
a nice. I remember seeing Ralphie May when I was 13, and it was magic. It was back when you're like, how did that sentence make everyone just explode in laughter?
Totally.
And he talked about fingering for so long. And my mom was there.
Yeah.
And he had a whole thing of all the different, he's like, you got the frog and the looking for change, and he's just crushing and murdering.
That's good.
Oh,
that bit's up
man.
for grabs now if you want.
I know. I wish when I was younger I had seen more stand-up. Just at the time when it was just, I wish my mall had a comedy club.
Me too.
Oh
yeah. I had to go to San Antonio, which is about 4 or 5 hours north. That was the closest main city that had a club, to go and see Julian McCullough. You know Julian?
It sounds familiar.
He had like had a Comedy Central Presents, and just like to me, I'm just like, this is like a famous person. Shane Moss went down to the Latino circuit, and I got to open for him. You know Shane Moss?
I do.
Also, yeah, Comedy Central Presents.
Yeah,
and, that was just like I got to open for him, and I was just like, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me.
How did you do?
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. So what would get me through that is that I liked to do dirty jokes, and so I was like 16 saying like pussy and shit, and like people like
what were the jokes?
I honestly can't remember, but it was like stuff that was bad. I had a flash of this earlier this week, actually, that I did a bit where I just described my grandparents having sex or something like that. Yeah, like I wrote like a short story about like my erotic fiction about my grandparents having sex. I don't think there was any clever twists or turns in it. I think it was just that, and just trying to say as many dirty words as possible. And then end it with the aristocrats or whatever.
Yeah. Were there any along that way that of like, because I think what's so impressive, once people know what your thing is and they're excited about it and it's, you know, fine tuned, you do well enough or you kill. But like, were there any moments where you were like doing your thing and the audience was like, what the fuck is this?
Of course. But I think, again, what saved me is that it's like a 16-year-old doing dirty stuff. And so as I was figuring things out, I think it was actually worse the better I got and the more fine-tuned I got.
Yeah.
Because then I'm like trying to go weirder and sillier, like darker, something. And people are like, now we don't like this. There was like a valley where I was just not doing.
Did the comics ever give you a note like, hey, man?
No, actually, I think comics always really got a kick out of me. I think I showed promise and I was young and I was such a fan of comedy. And I looked at these people who I think had never had anybody look at them with any sort of like respect.
Sure.
Just, I was so enamored. Like I describe it as like, I was like doe-eyed, just like, wow, we're all doing comedy right now. I love comedy. And they're like, whoa, you think I'm like a god? This is amazing.
Yeah.
And luckily I was a guy. So
sure.
Anyway.
Sure. So you filmed in Texas.
Yes.
You filmed
in Austin.
Where in Austin?
At the Stateside Theater at the Paramount.
Cool.
How big is it? How many seats is that?
300.
Cool. You feel good about the taping?
Ask me how many I filled.
Packed it to the gills.
Half. 2 shows. Half. I know what you're thinking. Why not 1 show? I'm thinking the same thing.
To make room for the cameras. The cameras can't. You gotta have some room.
You gotta have some room.
They took up about 5 seats.
But you felt good about it? I'm excited to see it.
He clearly did not feel good.
I'll be honest with you. I did not feel good about the tapings. I thought the first taping went so bad. I hated it. I like had to go off and just like be by myself for a little bit. It was so bad. And then afterwards, like people,
your mom
like
had to come
my
get
team
you from
had
under
to
the desk.
I couldn't see I mean, basically I saw my girlfriend Eliza and my manager Jordan and the producer, one of the producers, Spencer, like had to like come and I was just like, that was so fucking bad. That was so horrible. We got nothing usable from that. And then it's like, it's tough to be that. And then also the team that is like filming it and like put so much work in it is out there. And I'm just like, I can't like interact. Exactly.
Oh my God.
So it was like managing, but I'm like, I felt like this like horrendous feeling of like, I'll quit comedy. I'll like not do the second one. That's how bad it went. In my mind, you know what that kind of feeling
How'd
is.
the taping go? I quit comedy.
So for the second one, I loosened up. I took a shot with the team and I was just like, okay, let's have fun with this one. And the second one was better.
Mm-hmm.
Still not my favorite. And the final edit I'm happy with.
Cool.
But the first edit, I was like, oh yeah, this is even worse than I remember. Yeah.
Oh, you look back and you weren't like, oh, what was I worried about?
Not at all.
Oh,
not
God.
at all.
Oh,
did we add in the audience track yet?
They're like, yeah, it's at max. Like, oh, fuck.
Remember at Uncle Function when we got the tape and we were like, the laughing is not loud enough.
I had this set. I had like one particular bit that I was like so excited to post, and I was like, the camera didn't pick up the audio of the audience laughing. I remember it being bigger. I mean, the things you can tell yourself forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's the worst feeling. I think I've said it on the podcast, but that's like when I had the Netflix set, and for this one they did turn down the audience. And Tova went to open champagne that day, and I said, "No, I don't want to celebrate this."
Whoa.
And I wept.
Oh man.
Yeah.
What a horrible, horrible profession.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, truly.
And but so was that the show that you just took to Edinburgh?
I took it there last year, and I just happened to go again this year, and just like did the show like twice, just to
Oh yeah,
just to do it a couple times and try to make money theoretically. I was in a 100 seater.
yeah.
Ask me how many I filled.
How many?
Half.
Hell yeah.
Half 2 shows. Why not do one? I know, right?
You did you do an EDM cruise?
Sure did.
Yeah, I remember that. How
That was fun.
That was fun?
That was super fun.
They were in the mood for jokes?
They were in the mood for anything.
Yeah.
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 It was so fun. I had the sweet spot. So there was it was me and Nick Thune.
Uh-huh.
So when you think we're trying to book comedy for an EDM cruise, let's get Martin Urbano and Nick Thune. And he was like the headliner, and I was like the middle. And there was an opening act, Shelly Kim, a comedian from DC, who was just like a regular goer of the EDM cruise. And the year before was like, "Hey, I'm going to be on this cruise. Can I do a guest spot?" She did well. They booked her to do it proper this year.
Oh, cool.
Good for her.
And so she opened. That's the toughest job, to do 10 to 15 minutes there. I got to just do a breezy, easy 20. And then Nick had to close it with like 40 something. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. I killed hard. Everybody's super nice to me after. It was like a 500 seat theater, full.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
One show. I think we're seeing a pattern.
No, 2 shows.
Oh, 2 shows. Okay.
2 shows. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Sorry. Sorry about
But
that.
Dita Von Teese was coming up after. So like it was like the theater was like packing out during Shelley's set. So everybody could get good seats for Dita's show.
Sure.
Dita's show. And I gotta but before they got too unruly, it was beautiful. I loved it. 5 nights, I only performed twice. And I gotta just enjoy the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I went on a cruise a long time ago with my ex, and the cruise comedian was like I saw him early, and I don't know, we had like a cigarette thing, and we like talked a little bit, and he was talking about how good the gig is in terms of like, I do 2 shows and then I'm on this cruise for the rest of the time. But this guy did the Cialis joke. He was like such a, I forget his name, but like he was like such a, he wore big pants, and he was like, they say if you get a boner for more than 5 hours, you should call a hospital. Well, if I take Cialis and I get a boner for 5 hours, I'm gonna call Alice. I'm gonna call Jenny. I'm gonna call all of them.
That's good.
I said it wrong.
That's
I'm
good.
gonna see Alice. I'm gonna see Jenny.
I'm
I'm
got
gonna
an
see
extra even added.
Wow.
That's a
I'm gonna
layered
see
joke.
Jenny. I'm gonna see everybody.
It started I bet you started the way you did it.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
as
yeah.
he said it one day, he said, see
Alice. I'm gonna see everybody.
Big Pop, I'm sure.
But I remember, maybe like thinking this guy was great, and then watching the act and being like, oh yeah, brutal.
Oh, you were far enough along that it wasn't cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
Sure.
It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool.
I remember seeing
that joke was bad, and he did so many movements, and it was all about his big pants. He was like, he'd like, oh, and like the pants would shake, and he would.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, it was.
That's amazing.
It was great.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
You could.
Like a character.
I can't. I actually can't. I don't know how to. I don't know how to be funny in that way.
I get what you're saying.
Like Tim Heidecker, like bad good.
Sure, but then he's just doing bad. Like he's doing something where he would go up in a club and people would be like, we don't like this.
Yeah.
But that's the joke.
That's the joke.
I am, I guess, in a similar vein, but I just wish I could go up and just be like, Cialis, big pants. Sounds like the dream. Go on a cruise. Make money.
I
comedy.
bet you could get there. I think it would be cool too. It'd be fun. It would be a fun challenge if you felt like you had to do it, if someone said you got to come up with like kind of a hacky act.
Yeah. For the old crowd at the Carnival cruise.
I really think some people though can like comedy code switch, and I don't think I have that. Like someone like oh my God. Oh no.
Describe them.
Late night, like a true late night writer, master, Josh Gondelman.
Oh,
like
sure.
Josh Gondelman, like, you know, he had like a viral like Seinfeld today, and he writes for the Jurassic Park. Like he can write in other voices so well. And some people do it on Twitter, and it's like they'll write a Dangerfield joke, and I'm like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That I if I did it, it'd be so weird. I can only do what I do.
Sure.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Do you want to write for other people at all?
No.
Interesting.
No, I think it'd be cool to like be a conversation in the room, but I always think it's so interesting when I go to a comedian I really like. If I'm trying to find something specific, or I'm like, I need this one tag, it's not working. And sometimes the ideas that they pitch, I go, what? What? Do you not understand what are you talking about? And it's crazy. It's surreal.
Yeah.
But that's like, I think comedic voices, that's how specific they are to who you are as a person.
Like he might as well pitch it in a different language. It's so
weird. Or you just go like, that's not funny. Maybe we should specify it. I'm going for a laugh with it. So speaking of that, I wanted to just, so I'm working on a new bit where there's a woman who messaged me who said like, I found you because I was looking up, I was doing background research on your dad who asked me out on a dating app.
Oh yeah.
And she said like, I ended up finding you. I didn't go on a date with him, but I'm a fan. And
what does your dad think about that?
I mean, I truly, it's pinned on my Instagram profile. There's no way he's ever seen it. If I said, as I will again, gun to his head, what's the name of my sketch team? He'd go, I don't know. 9 years, Dad. 10 years.
I'm jealous that Russell met him. So jealous.
Yeah, I think Russell was like, you were cold to your dad. And there was a feeling of, and you know this feeling where I'm like, buddy,
you have no idea. You have no idea.
I didn't lunge across the table at him. So the idea that I'm trying to build is I now go to the audience. I'm trying to get jokes out there to help him, help his dating life.
Okay.
So I wrote some new ones. I pretend to get a paper, and I do good fake reading acting.
Yeah,
I go, okay, my dad's cock is so big, and I give him a go, how big is it?
Yeah.
And I'm trying to build my dad's cock is so big joke. So I've just been walking the streets.
Okay.
Going, my dad's cock is so big. My dad's cock is so big. And I think the biggest mapping of it was Yo Mama jokes. Yo Mama, it's just like, because I think what I love about Yo Mama jokes is like, if it's Yo Mama so fat, the joke is that she's fat.
She's fat.
So
yeah.
the surprise of the joke has to beat that. It has to overcome that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the real funny thing. And now I got to do it with my dad's cock is so big.
Okay.
So I did some on the last one, and they needed work. So and I have some of my favorite Yo Mama jokes too. Do you remember any Yo Mama jokes?
I try to. I have one that I don't know if I should say or not on stage. Can I pitch it to you guys?
Yeah.
Say, it's like I have people ask me like where my line is, like where's my line, and my line is fat jokes. I would never make any fat jokes because you see, my mom was so fat, and everybody would always make fun of her. They'd bully her so much, and eventually one day, she killed herself. And the police called it a mass suicide, which I thought was messed up. I feel like
that's really funny.
I don't know if I can stand by it or not, because I think it's funny, but I don't know if it holds up.
I love it. I love it. I think comedically,
Thanks,
I think you should do more. I think you should be serious about about sad stories that happened to your mama. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like more bullying or something.
Yeah,
or she was sitting around the house, and I mean she was sitting around
the house.
Yeah.
That's the exact one. Yeah,
that's good.
Or the one that I was thinking of was like, my mom, your mom is so fat, when she jumps up in the air, she gets stuck. That's not a good one, but like that's the one.
That's
that
a
comes
classic
to mind.
one.
That's
But the one when I was a kid, it was your mom is so dumb. She got fired from the M&M factory for throwing away all the W's.
That's good. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so here's another one. This one's like on the line. I do think it's funny. I'm sorry to say, but I'm going to say it. Your mama is so old, she has a separate entrance for black dicks. It's a good joke.
No, that's good.
It's a good joke. Okay, so one that Tova didn't like. Oh, this one's good. Your mama's so stupid she stared for an hour at a can of frozen orange juice because it said concentrate.
Love it. Classic.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's corny. I would tell your mom a joke, but in my religion, cows are sacred. I can't tell that one because I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
Your mama is so old. She was a waitress at the Last Supper. Nah. Your mama's so ugly. Her own portraits hang themselves. I like that one. Tova didn't.
Okay.
Tova said, "What do you mean the portraits have a like a soul?" And I'm like, "God damn it!"
Yeah,
I was so mad. I was
it.
like, "You can't make the leap." It's like with musicals. I'm like, "Just make the leap."
Yeah.
Your mama's so old. When someone told her to act her age, she died. That's funny.
Were you? No, I was laughing at the reaction.
That's funny.
That's funny.
That's funny.
Your mom
Did
is so
you see
fat.
these before saying them?
Yeah, I said, and I just still they're evergreen. Okay. Your mama's so ugly. When your dad drops her off for work, he gets a fine for littering. That's a true story.
Yeah.
Someone said in a video of your mama joke said your mama's so fat she couldn't fit in the thumbnail, which I thought was a funny meta joke.
That's pretty good.
That's funny.
Your mama's so fat she left in high heels, came back in flip flops. Your mama's so bald you can see what's on her mind.
I like that.
And also bald is newer, so you have it's less well trodden ground.
So wait, you're doing this. This is like a new obsession because you want to do my dad's got a big cock jokes.
But but I want to like in the voice, in the spirit of your mama, and I think that's one of the things where I can steal
Sure.
from as long as that's
Sure.
So I had the one that I thought of that it didn't work on stage the other day, but my dad's cock is so big he can't take a piss without a spotter. Something. My dad's cock is so big he can't lie on his back without alerting air traffic control. My dad's cock is so big he can only jerk off with a flesh lighthouse.
That's good.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's the opener.
That's
the
opener.
My dad's cock is so big his 23andMe came back 10% horse. My dad tried a lambskin condom and there was a national shortage on shepherd's pie. Okay, good. That's why.
When I laugh that hard at a joke, it'll never work on stage.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's a thing I found.
I'm trying to think of one.
He can't get hard without a blood bank. When he got married, there wasn't room for him to walk down the aisle.
Wait, mine is really dark in my head, but
Okay.
here we go. Let's see if I can say it. My dad's cock is so big, the woman who he lost his virginity to is nowhere to be found. She just disappeared. Like she died. She's dead.
This is serious. My dad's cock is so big it killed a woman.
Nowhere to be found. Pulverized.
She's fucking dead.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
The police are still looking for the woman who my dad lost his virginity.
Okay, here's what my dad's cock is so. My dad's cock is so old. There's a separate entrance for black dicks. I thought something about like when you get to the when women finally get to the tip, they stick an American flag in it, like something like a mountain
Oh, that's
top.
pretty good. Yeah.
But I can't.
If you want to have sex with my dad, you have to have a Sherpa or something like that. Some kind of mountain.
Yeah.
Some kind of mountain joke.
Something about him lying down.
Yeah.
And he gets
Loses his keys in his foreskin. Yeah, something about erection.
Yeah.
This is from a Yo Mama joke. When they had sex and my mom got on top, her ears would pop. Something height.
Oh, that's good.
But I'm just walking around, just going, if it's big, how do you pee if it's this big? I'm trying to visualize it.
Which ones have you tried on stage? Just the one, or
no? The ones I've tried on stage that I've already done are my dad's cock is so big he can only do it Clifford the Big Red Doggy style.
that's good. How does that go?
Good.
Yeah.
That one's a solid.
Yeah.
Like my dad's cock. My dad's cock. I could do that as an attack. My dad's cock is so big. I had two more. My dad's cock is so big. Help me.
How big is it?
How big is it? My dad's cock
I have
is.
my own mic. I don't know why.
Oh my god! have I forgotten it? It used to be my dad's cock is so big when he gets hard to borrow some of your blood too. But I cut that. Oh, he can only take a dick pic with Google Earth. And that's kind of, it's easy enough for audiences to get.
Yeah.
And then I do the third one. I go, my dad's cock is so big. And then I go, that even though he wasn't the best father in the entire world, and I wish he had gone to more shows when I was growing up and supported my career. My dad's cock is so big. And then the one I cut was when I was born, the doctor said I had my dad's baby arm.
Wait, what?
I didn't work at the last one too.
I thought of another one.
I like the idea that, when you say, wow, the cock is a baby arm. So if someone saw my arms as a baby and were like, damn, you got your arms from your dad's cock. I can see your dad in your arm based on his cock because it's so.
It's a bit of a leap.
It's a leap. Okay, I thought of another one. My dad's cock is so big. One time we were swimming in the ocean and a whale.
You really went Berbiglia with it.
And a whale saw it, and the whale was like, even that's a little too much.
So I think the version, and not to say that's hacky, but I had a version when he goes in the ocean, the whales get jealous.
Sure, yeah.
Or when he pees in the ocean, it overflows.
Yeah.
Oh,
but that just means he has a big bladder, not necessarily a big cock.
Yeah.
I think that's enough for audiences to be like,
big.
Big.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
Well, if I think
he pees in the water level rose an inch finally or something like that. Like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
Oh, when my dad comes, the economy suffers from deflation. Or vice versa, he gets hard, there's inflation. But I worry at the two words, they think you're still talking about the cock and not and if you say economy, they know where it's going. So listeners, feel free to comment if you have any ideas. I'll credit you.
I think you have a lot of great ones in there that could use a little tweaking.
Really? Because Fallon didn't want any of them. Let's go to our next segment. This has got to stop.
This has got to stop.
This has got to stop.
Send those to me also, and I'll try to think of tweaks.
I will.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Oh, that's nice.
I like doing that. It's fun.
This has got to stop. I'll go first. It feels very lame, and it happens every political season where bands will go, Trump came out to YMCA, and now the band is suing. And I've never heard of one of these lawsuits ever going through the courts. And I go, it's got to be annoying. It would certainly, wouldn't it suck if you heard how Trump was coming out to your Kimmel set every single rally? But there's nothing to be done about that. You could, if you're a band, I don't know, make a fuck Trump song if you want. Re-release the song and have new lyrics that feel catchy that say fuck Trump. Take all the money and donate it. But this there's something about that feels very liberal, whiny, doesn't get anything done actually, and just makes us seem like us losers. That is we said we're going to sue. And hearing 10 announcements from 10 bands going, they're going to sue. It's no, they're not. It's not going to go through. I don't think that's how music works. They just play it. And if they get money, donate it to something. And that's it. And that's all you have the power to do.
Yeah.
That's this has got to stop.
That's a great point. I just think that there's somebody who's asking them that question because people like the news cycle to have stuff like that. Totally. And so they just ask them and they're like, okay, we'll sue. And then they're like,
sure.
Oh, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
that's more on the journalist reporting all that. Which is a lot of things, I suppose. But
yeah,
I think it'd be cooler if they
your
said,
friend from high school, people like him.
Yeah.
What kind of news does he cover?
We should look it up afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Put it on the Patreon. Make sure you join the Patreon, guys.
You're
There's
right.
so many good things.
I didn't say a word about it. Join the Patreon for bonus episodes. We are recording one soon where we cover the live tour, and Douglas is there. We have friends there, and it's.
I wasn't invited to the tour, but for some reason I'm invited on the recap. Of
can
the
I be
tour.
on the Patreon too?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Yeah,
you were invited to play on the New York big show of the tour.
Yeah, but I didn't get to travel. They didn't ask me to travel and do the fun part. This has got to stop.
This has got to stop. Oh, patreon.com.
Patreon/downside.
Link in bio.
Okay. Mine is the caravan between the funeral and the cemetery, you have to go in like the caravan, like riding behind the hearse. That has got to stop. The caravan after the funeral has got to stop. First of all, if you're watching it and you're in your car and it's going by, it sucks. Life is for the living. I need to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, stop it. And second of all, it breaks all the laws just because you have your flashers on. I was just recently in one, and we're supposed to go through lights. And
You're in a when you say caravan, tell me what you mean, because I just so I fully understand.
A bunch of cars all follow the hearse.
Okay.
From the funeral to the cemetery. And they're all, you put your flashers on and you ride together to the cemetery. It might be a 20-minute drive. And you're in your car and you're supposed to run lights.
You're allowed. This is a legal thing.
You're allowed to
run. The police
run,
is there and everything. Yeah.
but not always.
What?
Not always. and this last one that I was in, we were just running stop signs and running lights, and
That's
people
awesome.
and other cars were like, "Oh, what?" And you're like, "My flashers are on, and someone died." And like,
How many people have died from funeral
exactly?
processions?
This is a great question,
Yeah.
Martin. It's a fantastic question, and that what I think.
Thanks.
The hacky joke of it all is, I think the funerals are trying to drum up more business. Am I right?
Oh, that's good.
Am I
That's
right?
good.
That's
yeah,
good.
They're
Write
trying to
that
drum
down.
up more business. Write
Write
it
that
down.
down.
You write it down.
My
Don't tell
dad's
me to write
dick
it down.
is
You
so
write it
big.
I just
My
think-
dad's cock is so big, it's like a caravan stops for it.
yeah. But you know what I mean? There you go.
Yeah.
That's gotta
That's
stop.
good. That's a good take. I like that.
I feel like the people who disagree with that take are going to be very emotionally charged in their disagreement.
I think I understand that it's a tribute, right? You're driving through the streets, you're on a highway, and people are like, "Oh, someone died." I don't know. It just doesn't seem like, let's all just meet at the cemetery like normal people. Just meet there. We'll meet you there. I don't know why it has to be a line. And it's really scary. It's really scary. Like if you're at the end of the line, the light turns red, and it's like, okay, I'm running this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucking scary.
They want everybody to get there at the same time.
Yes.
You can't stop by for like in and out or something. you know?
Yeah. I don't like it.
Sure.
I thought about this so hard.
That's a good one.
I didn't realize it was like a legal it feels very American. It's like, well, this is how we mourn. You can break the traffic rules for a day.
Martin's right that sometimes there are police that like stop in front of the lights so that everyone knows what's going on, but that doesn't always happen. And
That's
it's just like a line of cars all breaking the law. And then I was thinking about these new cameras. They must be right. These new like
They're trying to drum up more business.
There you go. It's a little fucking conspiracy.
Do you have this got to stop?
This has got to stop. I'm going to try to phrase it so that it fits within this format.
Sure.
This has got to stop. Not calling out celebrities for selling out.
Yes.
Tell me, brother.
Have you discussed this on the
Sing
podcast
it.
already? Or?
Different versions. You know, we complained about them all visiting the Pope.
Oh,
So
when did this happen?
Like the Pope invited hundreds of comedians from all over the world and a bunch of Gaffigan, of course, but then like 9 other comedians. Your old boss, Jimmy Fallon. He tried to do the hair, but the hat got in the way.
Sing it though. Give it to me.
It was.
I thought you like wanted him to sing really quick, and I was
I
like,
just want him to
he could
preach.
just talk it.
Hit the track.
Who? So you're calculated in the things that you're public about per se, as we all are.
Yes.
So be the change you wish to see in the world. Who do you think? What level? Who is it? You're dying.
Like if you watch TV with me, I have strong opinions about almost every single commercial that I see. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Same.
Yes.
His is I should have gotten that part.
I think that we should shame them for taking jobs away from middle class actors.
Yes, that's exactly how I
agree.
feel, and it really is with commercials. And it spreads to everything. It spreads to how you can't say bad things. I saw a clip of a famous comedian, now writer director on somebody else's podcast, saying that, oh, be careful, you can't insult that movie. You never know if you're going to get famous and be with that person. You might know that clip.
I saw that. Yeah, I know that clip.
And that just blew my mind because this person had just made a terrible movie that I did not like. unless you guys loved it, in which case, man, I love that movie. And that it just feels like we can't be critical
Was it a musical
of people.
movie?
Maybe, I don't know.
Got it.
What did you feel about it?
I wouldn't dare to see it.
it was I did not like it very much, and the fact that it's like, oh, be careful because you can't. It's like, no, I think we should maybe be a little bit more dangerous and irreverent and be criticizing things that are bad that come out in culture instead of being like, oh, maybe one day I'm going to be buddy with them and I'm going to rub shoulders. So I shouldn't. It's like, no, if you're buddy rubbing shoulders, you should be like, hey, didn't like that one thing, loved that, all these other things. It's okay to insult this one thing.
And we're so clearly like, obviously, like all things, there's a balance to being a jerk and calling out, but we are so far on this side right now.
Yes.
Truly.
Because we all want to be on each other's podcasts and whatnot and all these things.
Yes.
And it's terrible. The ads is incredible. That it used to be Robert De Niro. I mean, this is actors, but like they just wouldn't do an ad.
Yeah,
and now they're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. The
selling out fully.
The whole plot of what's that Bill Murray movie where they go to Japan?
Lost in Translation.
The whole plot of Lost in Translation hinges on the fact that actors were embarrassed to do commercials. And so they went to Japan or a foreign country to do a commercial that no one would see. They'd make $1 million and then they'd come back and no one would have seen it. That's the whole like thing of that movie. And now it's like, oh, we're fine with it. We're just fine. If you're a working actor, you should not be doing commercials. Like a top tier.
Exactly.
How dare you?
Well, Russell, he's talked where he says he feels like the reason all these big actors are doing the commercials of brand deals is because we all feel the economic disparity in the world and they want even more. It's just like the amount of money that they want to make sure that, I don't think Mars is coming up, but I mean, like when Florida is submerged in water, that they can get to they get the drinkable water. Like I think there's a little bit of anxiety with the world in general.
I think there definitely is that, but I think that's more the excuse that people have. I think really it's just these people don't think anybody's going to make fun of them for doing this thing. So might as well make a few $1 million off of this day or two of work. Because who's gonna say anything about it? People need to say things about it. People need to make fun of that. I saw that Uber Eats commercial during the Super Bowl either this year or last year, and I'm still incensed about it. With Diddy. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where it's like, and then a bunch of just
was Goldblum in that one too?
No, he wasn't in that one. He's doing a different Uber.
And Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston too.
They've all been doing it. It's insane.
It's
this specific one was a bunch of like famous singers, especially like from like kind of like the 80s, repurposing their hits with Uber One or Uber Eats in the title of my Uber One brings all the boys to the yard. And they're like, Uber One, Uber don't save me, something like that.
Yep.
And I just
sang one of these the other day.
I sang one the other day.
And that is, and you should be doing it. We should be doing this.
People.
There's a Wendy's commercial. There's a Wendy's commercial starring this guy Bill O'Neill, a very fantastic comedian, very talented comedian who was in Edinburgh last year. We both got nominated for Newcomer, and he's in these Wendy's commercials. He's doing a good job. He's doing a funny job. He's doing exactly what that job is, and that money funds him to go to Edinburgh to an arts festival and perform his 1 hour clown show. That is, how can you do that without having this money on the side? And then these people come out and just trying to make it extra. It's embarrassing. And I think if we had made fun of that commercial, we would have gotten Diddy earlier.
There you go. Yeah. I just remember when the Rolling Stones allowed using Start Me Up for Windows 95.
Oh.
And people were like fucking sellouts. They were so fucking pissed about it.
Yeah.
But I think also 90s was all about not selling out, and now we're changing. Like Pearl Jam was like, fuck you. We don't even want to be famous. Yeah. It wasn't cool to be famous.
Yeah.
Kurt
By the way,
Cobain,
I'll connect that to my earlier thing about the music, where there's a degree where I'm like, ABBA or whatever will be like, you can't use their music. I'm like, you've sold your music to be used for fucking every goddamn thing in the world.
True.
It's done. You wanted this. This is what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
But do you think you could say no to that money? You think someone comes around, you're 50, you got 3 kids. I'm just making predictions. And someone says, we'll take your full comedy catalog and we'll give you $250 million.
Meryl Streep doesn't do
Sounds
the
incredible.
commercials. Leonardo DiCaprio. These like top.
Leonardo DiCaprio did do one in China.
Did he?
That Martin Scorsese directed. They each got $3 million for the day. Robert De Niro was also in it.
Good for them.
Okay.
I want to see that. That sounds great.
Yeah, something.
I mean, ask me that now. Of course, that sounds incredible. That sounds amazing. But I'm where I'm at right now.
Sure.
I'm not a multimillionaire who's selling their face and their likeness to promote this product. And one that really upsets me are anything that involves money and people getting money, gambling.
I think Larry David hawking Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And you're right in that the only thing that can keep people in line is collective shame. Sometimes shame is so powerful.
Absolutely.
And if Larry David,
that's why I never take my shirt off. Shame is so fucking powerful.
If we could take that energy, but like if Larry David, every time he goes to go do his like, I'm cranky guy, if people said, hey, no, let's talk about the Bitcoin thing still. Like that was fucked. Like people lost millions.
Yeah, people lost a lot of money.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm so, you should have started with that. And I would have been really on your side.
Final segment. You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessings.
You better count your blessings. Douglas, you want to go?
Sure. Cool breeze today. Summer's winding down. I thought it was a really good summer, but I'm also excited to be living in a place where the seasons change and we can feel like a little bit of a reset. That's what I'm going to give you. No jokes.
That's good.
No stupid jokes.
I'm honest sincere. That's the whole point of this segment was this is the sincere.
I'm kidding.
Mine. So Tova, we had an amazing dinner. For my birthday.
That was great.
You and Russell, and then Saturday Tova was like, just keep the night open, and I have a surprise. And she was like, don't build it up, but it's what you want. And I had this awful gig on Friday, the college gig, and she was there, and it was like I let my demons win in terms of being very icy and depressed and cold and all these things.
Sure.
And she couldn't give away the surprise. I was just like, I suck at this material shit. What am I doing? And so I'm gonna be. I'll just say it. I'm filming something for myself in February in somewhere, and she just got us a hotel room on Roosevelt Island, and it was she called it a writer's retreat, and she got a big board and some notepads and markers.
Oh, cool!
And Tova, who's very much my muse and my guide and my preventing me from just being so insular. We outlined kind of a very loose what would I want to cover, and we got stoned and chilled and then wrote, and then so she just set up a little writer's retreat for me, and it really was, that's what I want.
She knows you, dude.
She knows me.
That's awesome.
That's lovely. That's wonderful.
That's really lovely.
Anything usable?
None. None. It's all. I go up there. Hey guys, I love my girlfriend. She's the best.
Boo.
The one time sometimes
That's
when you're
sweet though. That's very sweet.
I love that. I love that a lot.
But sometimes when I'm like working out stuff, I'll like work. Like there's one side I did at Gotham, and I did like all my girlfriend jokes just in a row. I was just like trying to work through it all, and I got off, and this old woman, she just shook my hand as I went off, and she said, too misogynistic, but good job. And I was like, oh, you marron, Jesus Christ almighty.
But also like, good job.
It was very strange.
I mean, I've definitely seen comedians where after they're set, I'm like, what am I supposed to say to you? Like, yeah, your girlfriend sounds like a bitch, man. Like, that sucks.
Well, there's such a line. Yeah. There's definitely, I remember seeing an older comic where I was like, I think you need to leave your wife because you're going to kill her otherwise. Yeah. There's like, my bitch wife.
Who was it?
Do you have a blessing?
Yeah, I was trying to think of it, but I think it's so this past time going to Edinburgh just a couple weeks ago, I become friends with cool international comedians, and they are friends with other cool international comedians. And I found myself in a conversation with 3 people that when I was in high school, I was looking up their videos and just being like, one day I'm going to come to Edinburgh and I want to be there, be around this because this is what I like. I'm not where I want to be right now in Brownsville. People don't know what this is. People don't get it. But one day I'll be over there. And I was in a conversation with 3 of them, just like mind blown. Just like, wow.
Cool.
Dane Cook did Edinburgh this year.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But you were able to be
Cosby's New Hour is insane, man. It's sick.
Yes.
It's so good. And he talks about it.
Oh, fuck.
That's really funny.
Wonderful. So this episode, it comes out September 17th. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
Not at all. Oh, eventually my special will be on YouTube, maybe in the next couple months, but still waiting to hear back on an exact date.
Do you have a title?
Apology Comeback Special.
Apology Comeback Special. I
Hell yeah.
truly cannot wait
That's
to watch
awesome.
it.
No, thank you.
Me too. I'm excited.
Douglas,
guys.
what would you like to plug?
You can follow me at the Douglas G. Funny songs, funny characters, and my eyes popping out of my head as usual.
And when's the next Uncle Function show?
Oh, next Uncle Function show is September. We're doing the UCB opening weekend. September 15th, right?
Sweet.
You're in that too.
So it's already happened.
Oh,
Hope you came.
hope you came.
I will be at Burlington, Vermont this weekend, Vancouver after
Love that
that,
club.
and Cleveland after that. I'm very excited for Vermont because I wrote all these jokes for the Fish Festival, and I think some of them will work there.
Okay, cool.
We'll see. Because Fish started there.
I know.
I know a lot about fish.
I listened to that episode. We'll talk about it afterwards.
Join the Patreon, patreon.com/downside. And you do Stamptown sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh,
Usually,
yeah.
Especially in New York.
You got to go see Stamptown. We had like 3 people from Stamptown in a row. And can I say your bit?
Of course.
He comes on and he reviews the show.
That's
like
right.
as the show's going on.
As it's going on. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
And you said some are a line and you know it works, but you're coming up with some during the show.
That's my favorite part. Yeah, where I have to write something new. Yeah.
It's really funny.
It's like you're the
That's fun.
2 angry Muppets.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's fun.
That's
it's
awesome.
a fun one.
It's really good. We ended so sweet. I don't have a funny thing to sign off on.
I got something.
Yeah,
All right, so I'm really mad. So I got, Jeremy Allen White from
the bear.
The Bear. So everyone's on TikTok has been like talking about the t-shirts that he wears. They're like these really cool t-shirts. They're made in Japan on like a vintage loom that like is like tubular, and so it makes you look cool and look good. And so I decided to buy these shirts, and they're really expensive. They're in Japan, and they come, and I put my shirt on, and I realized that I'm still fat in the shirt. It doesn't make you not fat. And I think that they should tell you that. I think that they should warn you that like if you're fat in a Hanes t-shirt, you're going to be fat in this t-shirt too. Because it really, it's like, I mean, I'm wearing it right now. It's well made.
Oh,
it's really well
it's a
made.
great shirt.
But like, I really thought I was going to be a different person when I put it on. Like I really got tricked.
Yeah.
And it's not Jeremy Allen White's fault. It's all like TikTok influencers and whatnot. But I really thought, like, I was like, no, I'm going to look good in this t-shirt. But I've never been like a t-shirt guy.
The truth is, though, you do. You do look great in that shirt right now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't know this was the shirt you were talking about. This is a great shirt.
It's the undershirt.
Yeah.
If I took it off, see, that's the thing. I just want to be like t-shirt and jeans, like white t-shirt and jeans guy, but I just can't be that guy. What's the space?
I was just trying to think of I was trying to tie it into my dad's cock is so big, it would look fat in a Jeremy Allen White t-shirt tank top. This is the downside.
You're listening to The Downside
The Downside.
with Gianmarco Soresi.